O sea que nuestra asociación, INUSEV, nuestra organización, es una organización que mantiene como visión el desarrollo de una sociedad internacional performativa en dignidad, paz, libertad y derechos. Entonces, una de las preguntas que siempre le hacemos a las personas con que nos reunimos nosotros es: ¿cuál piensa usted que es la mejor vía para llegar a una sociedad donde haya libertad, donde haya paz, donde haya derechos y donde la gente viva con dignidad?
These are characteristics of a good system. Like, say, in most Western European countries, you have a large dose of freedom, and you have a state which protects freedom. You have a police which protects people against common criminals, and you don't have the good society policemen who are criminals themselves. So to build such a system, of course, requires a lot of effort, but as many countries have been shown, it's possible. In Poland, we've been constructing such a system during the last 20 years, and also in Hungary or Bulgaria or Romania. So it requires, once you are free, it requires a mobilization of people to support a good program, a program of construction of a good state, which does not deprive individuals of their freedoms, but protects the freedoms. So it is no need to discover America. America was already discovered. Just study countries which have good system, where individuals have both freedom and some elementary security, especially security against the intrusion from the state.
¿Qué iniciativas se pueden llevar adelante para promover la libertad, las libertades individuales? He escuchado que le ponen en especial énfasis en lo que es la organización. ¿De qué manera usted apoya que se organicen los grupos de personas o los diferentes países en pro de la libertad?
This depends on the situation. For example, when Poland was not free, when Poland was dominated by Soviet Union, it was very risky to act for freedom, but there were some brave individuals, not many, there were some brave individuals who created networks and who took the risk to demand reforms and freedoms. And what mattered very much that the media in the world, the Western media, were following what was happening in Poland, say in the 80s. And when there were the risk of reprisal, of sanctions against dissident, brave individuals, then the Western media were informing the world, the public opinion in the world, and in this way, to some extent, these brave individuals were protected. So I am speaking about a situation when you still have socialism and you want to have freedom. Then you need some brave people who would be brave but also well organized. It's not enough to be brave. You have to be brave but plus, and you have to be well organized, and you have to have connections with external world. Once you are a free country, then you have to defend freedom. Even under democracy one has to defend freedom, because under democracy you may have also some tendencies to enlarge the state power. But under democracy you can freely create NGOs, various organizations which would focus on stopping the expansion of the state.
Hoy en día, ¿qué está haciendo usted en pro de impulsar las libertades individuales de las personas o en pro de hacer entender que es necesaria la libertad económica para el desarrollo de los países del mundo?
It's absolutely necessary. There's no one example, I repeat, of a regime without economic freedom, without private property, without markets, which would be developing in the long run. Just no one example. So if a country wants to have prosperity, it has to have economic freedom and competition. Because if you have private ownership but don't have competition, like in some American countries, in the past, then private enterprise would not work very well. There would be not enough innovation, not enough efficiency. So private ownership, competition, moderate taxation, which requires moderate spending, stable money, which requires an independent and professional central bank, are the main ingredients of good capitalism. And some countries in Latin America have made a transition from bad capitalism to good capitalism. Bad capitalism is characterized by instability, debt crisis, which are due to fiscal irresponsibility of political rulers, of insufficient competition. It is characterized by insufficient competition, by high inflation. And there were many stories of Latin American countries in the past of bad capital, like say in Brazil until recently, outbursts of hyperinflation. But then, enough people in Brazil have mobilized around a better program, and Brazil now is much more stable country. So they are making a transition from bad capitalism to good capitalism. Of course, Chile, which had socialism under Allende, and then moved to the most free market and stable economy. So for economists, Chile is a model of good transition, and Chile ultimately became a democratic country. On the other hand, if you look at Argentina, then there were reforms and anti-reforms and fluctuations. Argentina used to be one of the richest countries in the world at the end of the 19th century. Now it is much, much, much below United States, Western Europe. So there are lessons to be learned from experience of Latin America. One can know what works and what is bad. Of course, the worst transition is from bad capitalism to socialism, which is always bad.
Se está creando una moneda única, el sucre, una moneda virtual para los miembros del ALBA que luego va a convertirse en la moneda única de la región, ¿no? Es la propuesta. ¿Cómo puede afectar en la transformación, luego en la resistencia del regreso a un buen capitalismo posterior
well,
a la...
it depends on the members. If you want to have a stable money, then you need an independent central bank. Without a common independent central bank, there won't be a good money. For example, there's only one example of international money which is good, and this is euro. And there are more than 10 members of the Eurozone. Why euro is a stable money? Because it is entrusted to the European Central Bank, which is a very professional and independent institution. Without independent and professional central bank, international money is an illusion. And even if you have a good money, which is important in itself, it does not solve all the problems. Say in Ecuador they do good money, it is dollar. So they cannot print dollars. So they've got stable. But if in Ecuador they go through socialism, dollar would not save them.
Bueno, muchas gracias por la entrevista, muchas gracias por visitar a
Buena
Venezuela.
suerte.
Muchas gracias igualmente.